Welcome to my American History Notes. Now, the longest local conflict in American history was the Oyster War between Virginia and Maryland, which started in 1632 and saw fishermen murdered over it as late as 1959. Charles I, wanting to please his friend Lord Baltimore, granted him a slice of Virginia, which caused a great deal of resentment among the local fishermen, which is never truly abated. Morrison tells us that the proprietary form of colony, where a large amount of land with all governing powers was given by a king to an individual, is the oldest form of English and French colony. Sir Walter Raleigh and the French attempted this and eventually lost their shirt, so to speak. But the Calvert family made a success of it in Maryland, and their colony supported them well right down to the American Revolution. Sir George Calvert had already tried to build a colony in Newfoundland in present-day Canada, but after 5 years had to write it off as a bad investment. In the meantime, he converted to Roman Catholicism and because of that had to resign some of his duties in government. Charles I liked him personally, though, and in 1632 sliced off a hunk of the old Dominion of Virginia and gave it to him. This was between the southern part of Philadelphia and the south bank of the Potomac River, believing his friend could monopolize the commerce and rich fisheries of the area. The province was named Maryland, supposedly after Queen Henrietta Maria, but in reality, according to what I read, it was named after the Virgin Mary. George Calvert died during the process of confirming the charter, so the king granted it to his son, Cecilius, the second Baron Baltimore. Cecilius never visited America, but proved to be a good businessman and made the colony a refuge for English and Irish Roman Catholics, just as New England had been a refuge for Puritans. Only a small portion of Catholics immigrated to Maryland, and it never became a predominantly Catholic colony, though. The persecution of Catholics under the Stuarts in England was not as bad as it was for the Puritans, who came in large numbers to the colonies. Under the charge of his brother, Leonard Calvert, the second Lord Baltimore sent 2 ships, the Ark and the Dove, to Maryland in 1633 with a ship of mostly Protestant passengers. They picked up 3 Jesuit priests at the Isle of Wight and landed in 1634 in the colony. Why they picked up 3 Jesuit priests is a fitting subject for a study of the whys of the Catholic Counter-Reformation, which has been so victorious, especially in recent years. They founded St. Mary's, and it was a successful settlement from the first, with no starving time, as was suffered by Jamestown. The upper part of the Chesapeake Bay was considered to be very beautiful, and the Calverts felt very fortunate to have this piece of real estate. They called the Oriole the Baltimore bird because its colors matched the Calverts' coat of arms. Lord Baltimore planned a copy of Virginia's headright system, which was regarded as a success. Every person who brought out servants at his own expense was offered 100 acres for every able-bodied man and 50 acres for every woman and child. If you earned 2,000 acres, you were granted a manor. A quitrent or feudal type of rent of 2 shillings raised to 4 shillings in 1669 per 100 acres was to be paid forever. The Lord Baltimore allowed this to be paid by a tax of 2 shillings on each hogshead of tobacco a farm produced. A hogshead was a large cask or barrel that contained typically about 63 gallons of either liquid or dry goods. This was collected and paid regularly until the American Revolution, something which Virginia never accomplished. Maryland was a success story from the beginning. Now, I'm going to talk more about Maryland next. I'm going to leave it there. Hope you'll click like and subscribe or follow, and feel free to share your own comments. Before you criticize me on Maryland, let me make some more comments about that. There's some interesting stuff there, too. All right, thank you very much.